The Bicoastal Experience.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for being here. Another episode of the Bicoastal Experience. I'm joined today by the Commissioner of the East. You know him, you love him, you stand him some days. It's Will Ferrara.
It's you, boy. I'm back.
He's back. I'm back. Well, I was back last week. Will was on his honeymoon. Tell us about the honeymoon. Give us a quick breakdown in the update segment.
And the updates, it was great. Would recommend the Greek islands to a friend.
I mean, listen, Aaron and I are looking, so that's definitely in the cards there. Yeah, so updates. Nick and Will are back here. Aaron was going to do a breaking news segment, but she had to go to work. Two big updates. Squid is back, everyone. Squid is back, and Austin also has a new name, Mired in Mediocrity. Yeah, because he's got two Myers. It's so sick. It's a great name, great team name.
He texted me about his contracts, and he was like, Myers on a 2, and I was like, all right, you got to be more specific.
I was just putting it in. I'm like, because when you said that, he put the wide receiver in there. I'm like, why is he doing that? And it's like, oh, literally, there's another Jay Myers. Jason Myers, the kicker for the Seattle Seahawks, with 16 points last week. Absolutely insane. Reminders, pay your dues. Just a few folks in the East left. Thanks for the West for paying up. Let's get right into it. We had a few trades here. We came down to the contract deadline. That was Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening. And there were a few last-minute trades, as we do love in this league. Atwell and Austin, a first in Algier for Hawkinson, Brady, and Gibson. Nick got Diggs and a fifth swap for 2 firsts and Rachaad White.
Rachaad White he's a rookie, right?
He is a rookie.
Is he still redshirt eligible?
He is still redshirt eligible. I believe that's actually a good question. I think he's actually redshirting someone else. Let me see. He's redshirting Kenny Walker. He thinks Kenny Walker is the real deal. And I don't blame him. He seems pretty real. Yeah, right. He seems pretty real. And then lastly, at the very last minute of the deadline, truly at the last minute, Atwell and Lombardi, Henderson for Disley in a second. So I'm involved in these trades.
He picked Disley up just for this trade so that he wouldn't.
Yes, he needed a dummy player to make the to make it happen. We would have pushed that through either way. We had talked about that. It's just an ESPN formality to get it in writing on there, but you know us. We're pretty chill commissioners. If you let us know what's going on, we're gonna figure it out for you. So.
Our trades are pretty much we got to do them manually.
Yeah.
But I did notice that you did yours on Flea Flicker too.
You know who did mine? You know who did it was James. James
That's
actually put
smart.
it. I appreciate that so much. I was like, you know what, dude, you saved us the trouble when we're all scatterbrained going into the draft next year. Yeah, exactly. It's like, let me get ahead of it. That I had the brief thought. I'm like, I wonder if he thinks that Flea Flicker. I just had like the briefest thought. I'm like, has he been updating his roster on Flea Flicker too? Like.
Just to be safe.
Yeah, just exactly.
He's undefeated on Flea Flicker because he's the only one setting his.
That'd be so funny. He's like, "What are you talking about? I'm 7-0." 7-0, man. Speaking of 7-0, let's get right into it. I actually want to start with Austin's game because Austin had the high score for the week. His team is starting to come together. His team is starting to gel a little bit. When you're putting up 1.52 points from Jared Goff from your quarterback and you're still managing to win on the week, I think that's the sign of a team that has a chance to really show up now that first of all, you got this Tom Brady in the trade, so maybe that'll fix it. Maybe Tom Brady has a good second half. Does he show up?
I don't know. Maybe if he smashes a few more tablets, he'll turn it around.
But man,
Austin show age.
Yeah, I mean, but Austin Ekeler, he is who we thought he was.
Ekeler has come back.
Absolutely. You know what, man? He's I've always loved the Chargers, and I think with Herbert's down year, the whole passing down year, it really Eckler has a chance to be a league winner this season. So good for him. Excited to see him at 4-3 here. He jumped up in my rankings a little bit here. So looking good overall. Raheem Mostert with 18.9 points. He seems to be a legitimate starting running back, which gives him 3 legitimate starting running backs, which is insane. And Alvin Kamara still hasn't gotten into the end zone. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
And like you said, the kicker. And I know Matt hates kickers, and he got clobbered by the kicker this week.
Yeah, talk about so Kyler Murray with 17 and McManus with 3. That's a combined 20. Right. And then Goff with 1 and Myers with 16. That's a combined 17. So literally like a 3-point difference in with the kicker nonsense, adding your QBs and stuff in there. So I totally, the kicker is always going to be a point of contention for this league and for all leagues.
In every league I'm in with him.
Yeah, it's always going to be a thing. Let's talk about Starship real quick here. Kyler 17, Montgomery 12, Gibson 15, Olave 14. Olave looks great out there. He got Algiers for Gibson. I think that's a pretty fair trade. I can't really tell what's going on with Matt. I can't determine if he's pushing for the next season or like what do you think, buddy?
Described it as a retool. I reached out about a receiver, and he said he's not trading any of his big 3. He's not punting on the year. He's retooling. So Algier should hold him over until Patterson is back, if he comes back for this year.
That's
fair. But he doesn't have Gibson. He traded Hawkinson too, so now he needs a tight end.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Matt's one of the owners I always look to as a few steps ahead, and I think we're already witnessing that. Whether it's a retool, whether it's a punt on the season, I think he's setting himself up for success in the future, especially acquiring Algier there. He looks like a good back,
and he got a couple of picks back, didn't he? No, but then he gave it right away.
Yeah, he's wheeling and dealing those picks. Stingy with those picks over there. Unlike myself. So we had been talking about 7-0. I think now's a good time to bring up. We no longer have any undefeated teams in the league. It finally happens. Did you talk about it last week on the pod? We briefly brought it up, and Aaron and Lee were unimpressed with the stats. So I'm going to let you describe the stats. Give me one more time the stats.
I have, I do the thing.
I did the thing.
I do the thing. The spreadsheet with the history. There have been, besides the 2 last week, there's been one other instance of a 6-0 team in it's like 21 seasons of fantasy football that I have on this combined across 3 leagues. One instance, and this league had 2 this year, which is wild to me. And then they both lost.
And remind us again about what happened to Luke Palgotta, was the other undefeated gentleman, the undefeated owner. What happened to his team at the end of the season?
He finished 12-1 and won the championship, and he has never let me forget it.
You hate to see it, folks.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it, but you love to see the East Coast Commissioner defeating F Me and My Goddard. Let's talk about that game here. 40 points from Joe Burrow. They're letting him sling the ball.
Talk about coming back. Joe Burrow had a rough start and is now
a rough start. He was still the QB in the QB12 every game.
His first couple games were bad.
Dude, the lowest he has on the year is I think 16 points. I was looking, the lowest he has on the year is 16 points. So bad. 16 is not that bad. He's bad. Oh my God. That comes from somebody who has a regular quarterback and isn't dealing with Dak and Trevor Lawrence and Carson Wentz problems. 16 is great for a quarterback. Joe Mixon with 16, which is crazy to me. They were playing Atlanta. They just beat him up. But it looks like they're going to be throwing the ball now. So Joe Burrow looks good out there. Nick Chubb with 17. Chubb is the real deal. Chubb might end up being the RB1 on the year, man. It's crazy.
What is he now? RB2?
Yeah. Even Darnell Mooney got in there. Even Darnell Mooney scoring some points there.
Getting some targets. They're starting to throw it a little bit more.
Michael Gallup, a big old goose.
Big old goose egg.
Still better play than Sky Moore. So congratulations. Yeah, Matt Collins, I don't know when you picked him up, but that guy just keeps getting his hands on the ball. It's not a bad spot start when you have to. MVS finally putting the money where the mouth is. 12.6. Everybody scored in that game. It was Juju, MVS,
Yeah.
Ray Cloud, anybody with the last name got a touchdown. F me and my Goddard, on the other hand, not
Gus
so hot.
Edwards on my IR still.
Oh yeah, and we didn't even talk about that. Gus Edwards on the IR. The excellent stash there, bud. Excellent stash.
I picked him up right after the draft.
I love that for you. You're a smart fella. You're a smart cookie. Effie and my Goddard. What I thought was interesting. So now there's 3 teams at the top here. It's obviously with the 6-1. We've got myself, Morgan, and Adam. We all scored within 1.6 points of each other this week, which I thought was wicked. With 91, 92, and 92.6. So very weird. Yeah, you don't love it either, but it's, low 90s, not a bad performance in a down week. Except for myself, where I beat up on Squid. Sorry. Lamar Jackson with 10, Damian Pierce with 13. Pierce looks great out there. Hill and Waddle with combined 20. That's not great. That's probably where you lost the week.
But it's listen, I'll take 20 points from my receivers any day.
Of course. Juju looked great out there. He got in on the action. Yeah, I don't know. I still think Morgan's got a good shot to win out the East there, especially with all those middling teams. But who knows? Her brother might.
Got 2 games. She's got 2 games on everyone else.
Yeah, but Austin, I don't know. Austin could sneak in there. Some little brotherly a brotherly shove, if you will.
Well, I got one more game against her coming up.
Oh boy,
more.
That'd be great if you became Morgan's kryptonite.
Wouldn't hate it.
Moving on to the next previously undefeated team. Team Pellner lost to Hertz Donut. Lee's team looks great. Even starting Taylor Heineke on a Jalen Hurts bye week, able to take down the champ. You hate to see it. I mean, you love to see Pellner losing, but 29 points from Jamar Chase.
Big. Well, actually did it. Because Najee Harris and Leonard Fournette, I saw a stat. Najee Harris has less rushing yards than Daniel Jones this year.
Yeah,
which
is absolutely insane.
Because
insane.
He's lost a step, I guess. I don't know what his deal is.
Yeah. You know what's even crazier now that I'm looking at it? He left the Cowboys and Khalil Herbert on the bench. He could have easily taken the highest points for the week with that kind of stuff. Yeah, dude, but
you can't trust though. I don't believe him.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. He keeps showing up. Lee's team looks great. Pellner, just a down week. Honestly, he'll probably be back with that Mark Andrews anomaly, 0.4 points. What do you got? No receptions. I think you got 1 rushing play there. Yeah, just an anomaly for Mark Andrews. You hope it persists if you want to see Pellner lose like myself. Keenan Allen might be the 2nd largest bust on the season next to Kyle Pitts, if you ask me.
Well, he's gonna get a big uptick with Mike Williams out for a couple weeks.
Yeah, but they're on bye this week.
Yeah,
they're on bye this week, so they're gonna have to see what's up. Alec Pierce looks like a great draft pick. I was looking at him in the draft, man. Adam's got some good looks there. Josh Jacobs.
Everyone wrote him off this year. He was
dude. Pellner writes him off every year. Zeke looked good out there, but let's talk about Jacobs real quick here. Quick flashback: Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery trade. One of the earlier big trades. One of the big trades in the early years of the league.
That would have been 2018-19.
Yeah, they were both rookies that year, and they both did that swap. Absolutely crazy to see what Jacobs has done for Pellner. Has legitimately led him to these championships and continues to buoy that team despite trying to vie for that contract with Zamir White showing up there. Absolutely crazy. Let's get on to another 6-1 team. Yeah, boy.
Least deserving 6-1 team.
All right.
The entire East has more points than you.
I'm gonna get on my soapbox for 1 second here.
Well, listen, you just traded for Diggs though, so
I heard the footsteps. Listen to your brother. I heard what you were saying. I heard the footsteps. Y'all just kept talking smack. Y'all kept saying he doesn't deserve the 6-1. So I went out there. I got myself a big boy receiver. Try beating my starting four. Just try. Aaron Jones, Christian McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs. You don't want to play me. You
I love
don't.
it for you. Are you going to make the championship this year, or are you going to get third place?
Of course I'm not. Of course I'm not. Of course I won't.
What are you,
Of course
5
I
years
won't.
away from third place?
Yeah, I'm already at the point where maybe this is putting the cart before the horse, but I'm already looking to the playoffs and the playoff schedules to try to manage to massage
Yeah.
those schedules.
Listen, you're
got to
6
at this point.
and the
It's usually
top
8.
in the
Yeah,
division, you're 3 games up on anyone who is out of the playoffs right now.
yeah.
7 to go. You just
So
traded
look-
for Diggs.
Yeah. So looking ahead, I will say I have a great week 17, but 15 and 16 not exactly ideal. So if I can't pull out the
Bye is key.
bye, you'll
Bye is
probably
key.
end up in third place again.
Well, it's tough. It's going to be tough to make up 160 points over the last on Pellner to get that tiebreaker.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to beat it. You know what is the other part that really sucks is I just have a really bad schedule the one week I play him again, so I can't even win out against him. But alas, what are you gonna do? Dak with 12 in the return. Aaron Jones, big week. He's the only thing good about the Green Bay team right now. McCaffrey's even pulling out 7 on the trade. Big trade. We'd love to see it. Devontae looked good out there. Taysom Hill continues to be the $14 miracle worker. And Trevor Lawrence continues to be a viable start every time he sits on my bench. Tyler Boyd with his big season game on the bench as usual. Squid starting Geno Smith looked all right. JT disappointing season. Saquon looks great out there. Pittman, I wouldn't call Pittman a bust, but definitely somebody who just really should be doing better this year. I just feel bad because of that whole QB situation over there. Let's see if Allinger solves it.
We'll see. Taylor hasn't been himself either, but Saquon Barkley has been so good.
He looks great out there. Dude, between him and him being out there is what's keeping those Giants up because Danny doesn't have to be throwing or running every other play.
Right.
So good looks there. Tua might be back. 15 points there on the bench wouldn't have made a difference. Romeo Dobbs is Aaron Rodgers just hates his guts, and I don't blame him. Let's get to another close game over here. We've got Phil Swift and Captain Kelsey. 98-95, closest game of the
Sarah
week.
has come up short by like 5 points in I think 3 of her 5 losses.
It's tough, man. She always puts up, and she's putting up points. She still has more points than me on the season, and it's always putting up consistently in that 90-point range, which unfortunately won't win you a championship, but it'll put you right in the middle of the pack most of the time, which stinks. Nice week from Kelsey from her. DJ Moore with 16 points. I think Carolina took that trade to heart. Daniel Jones looks good out there. Absolute savage. Cannot believe what's going on. Benjamin might be the biggest steal of the season with Connor out there for an extended period of time. My poor girlfriend. Then on the other side of the fence, the winners over here, Justin Herbert kind of returning to form-ish, 17 points against Seattle. Probably should have been higher. ETN looks like the real deal. James Robinson is out of there. I think Phil Swift is in very good position here to make a little late season push here with ETN's boosted production and potentially Robinson's boosted production. And the rest of the team looks great too.
Although 2 and 5 is a tough hole to crawl out of, but we were talking about in our league trades, but there were a bunch of trades in the NFL too. James Robinson to the Jets is a big one for both fantasy and also for my Jets. Go Jets.
Go Jets. We love it. We love to see it. It's tough to root against the Jets. Why would you? Not to mention Hopkins is back. You know what I mean? It stinks. I actually think if they had pulled out maybe 1 or 2 more wins earlier in the season, they would be in a prime spot for a prime candidate.
We were talking the other day in the chat. Is the East a dumpster fire, or is it just so competitive?
It's competitive. I will also note that I'm sorry, I'm going to be the spoiler here. They've got 3 quarterbacks on their roster. They've got Mariota, Rodgers, and Herbert.
Interesting.
Shout out to the East, where unlike the West, where we're literally starting quarterbacks on their buys. The East is continuing to hoard quarterbacks over there. Let's call this a big warning. I feel like we can't keep giving people one warning each season, though. I feel like it's like one warning and that's it.
We were discussing we got to get a rule on the books about a penalty for this.
We'll have an open discourse about that on the Slack. We'll get into that. I'm sure Matt Atwell will have something to say about that. Next up, we've got Strong Island and Can You Dig It? The Battle of the Long Island Boys. David puts up 102. Can You Dig It? 59. Speaking of quarterbacks on buys, there was nothing that James could have done to change the outcome of this game, or even remotely come close to changing the outcome of this game. Well, David seems to kind of sort of be rebounding here. If George Kittle continues to show up, if Amon-Ra is now out, he can start somebody else in there. I don't know, man. David's team was an early favorite, and
I think Amon-Ra is going to turn it around. He has battled some injuries, but who else are they throwing? They're throwing so much, and who are they throwing to?
It was Jameson Williams. Is he still out there? Or no, he's injured too. I don't even know who's out there. Who the hell's the wide receiver for the Lions? Anyway, Breece Hall, big injury, stinks. Mike Williams injured, stinks. David is on the hurt bus.
Yeah.
And he's still managing to roster Calvin Ridley. That being said, he's got Deonta Foreman. He's got Allen Robinson. Dalvin Cook's off the bye. He might still be able to pull this out, man. I never doubt David's ability to pull something out of nothing.
The Calvin Ridley rostering is confusing to me. What contract is he on?
He put him on a 2-year. So he's gonna
just now?
Yeah, so he's gonna hold him down for next season.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Basically, he's locking down a wide receiver 1/2 for next season. It's weird, but he's David. I don't know, man. He does what he does. Over on Can You Dig It?
But he was strong to start the year, I thought.
I think he just picked up Calvin Ridley because of all the bullshit going on. I don't know. Allen Robinson, a big dumpster fire himself. Can You Dig It? Brian Robinson finally gets out there and looks good. Ramondre, 20 points, looks like a steal. Chris Godwin, down week. Tampa Bay's a dumpster fire. What were you going to say about that?
I thought he drafted Calvin Ridley and had just he just picked him up.
No. He was going for the stash and contract him, which is a sick move. Speaking of stashing and contract, we're going to get into that later. We're going to get into that later. Wan'Dale Robinson, 8 points. No Fant, 1-2. Not a lot doing over in Can You Dig It land. But I tell you, man, he is just absolutely teeming with picks. And that redshirted Kenny Walker with 28 points on the bench. Watch out for James next season. And the last game of the week we got here is Return of the King, 96-64. Aaron pulls out a win. She's at 3-4. Tough position to be in when the points for in the East are so high to try to get to playoff spot.
Well, she doesn't need to beat the East. She just needs to beat the West.
Well, which is actually potentially possible. It's tough. She's got a lot of expiring contracts. It's tough.
She's got 2 games. She's 2 games back on Lee.
Yeah.
3 on you. And how many points?
I don't know.
A lot.
Well, Derrick Henry looks good, 15. Clyde with 9. CD with 8. Dallas, I think Dallas is going to just rebound after a while. You know, they're still looking good out there. They managed to pull off the win.
Yeah. Dallas is a good team.
Dallas is a good team. They're going to right the ship. Rondale, she did Shazazz. Pat Freiermuth is, and dude, he's getting more targets than any other freaking tight end in the league, it feels.
I don't know what any of the deal in Pittsburgh is, though.
Yeah, I don't think anyone does. Terry McLaurin with 15.8. He had the game of the season for him right there. He might continue to pull it out so long as Dotson and Samuel are, hurting a little bit. Tucker with 13. Everybody made fun of her for a 4-year contract on Justin Tucker and now the franchise, but he continues to be with the team. Jerry Jeudy with 13 on the bench. She won the week. That's all you can say. 96 points. She would beat most of us. Rockville Bottoms, more of the same. Matt Ryan's out. Jamal Williams, probably should have traded him. Sonny Michel, not too great. Nico Collins, Devontae Parker, Hunter Henry. Paris Campbell finally shows up. He's got some stuff there. You know what, man? Indiana's a total dumpster fire over there. Who the hell knows what's happening in that past game?
This might be a perfect, not perfect, optimal lineup. Just because.
Oh wow, it really
No.
is because of all those buys.
Yeah, but
No,
it's
it's not.
because Sony Michelle.
Classic.
Classic.
Yeah. Tough week. This was a guaranteed loss for him with all those buys. This is a tough week.
Right.
Higbee, Devonta Smith, Singletary. Sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and take the L, which he's been doing consistently anyway. All right, so let's get back into it with the free agent offers report. Big week going into this contract week. A lot of players who were added via waivers that made it onto contracts. We got $25. Kirk Cousins, Return of the King. Great pickup in my opinion. He's got a decent rest of the schedule too. Justin Fields from Hertz Donut, $20. David underpaid $12. Did not get Kirk Cousins. Aaron got Naheem Hines and Titans D. Big week for Aaron. She ended up actually giving a lot of those players contracts just because she didn't have a ton of players to begin with. Right. Gesicki goes for 7 after the big week. Hines under for 2 for Squid. Huh?
That's not a bad pickup because Matt picked up Gesicki, right? Who just traded Hawkinson.
Correct.
Not a bad move.
It's a good move. It's I don't know. Apparently Gesicki's on the trade block too. Maybe if he goes somewhere. I don't know.
Could be.
Could be. Tyler Bass, 2 points, $2. Will Lutz, $1. Commanders, $0. Yeah, I mean, all in all, not the biggest week, but a huge week for quarterback. Kirk Cousins and Justin Fields.
Right.
2 very viable starting quarterbacks becoming available because of the buys. That was a result of the buys there. I don't know.
Right.
Absolutely wicked to think about. But
we had 2 more processed today. And I believe it was Rondale Moore for $2. And Miami defense by Lazinski and Matt, respectively.
Oh yeah, there were 2 more today. Yes, you're right. Rondale Moore and Dolphins D. Correct. Rondale Moore, they can't seem to get it together in Arizona. I don't know what's going on down there. But if apparently AJ Green might be on the move to Packers. God, the Packers just can't get that ship right. Aaron was saying
need a good wide receiver.
Imagine, but AJ Green is not the solution there, folks. Right. No, if you get DJ Moore, you get even Chase Claypool, Brandon Cooks, something like that, a viable receiver. Claypool is still young, but like the guy's got better hands than these freaking everybody. They got Butterfingers up there, man. They got Butterfingers up there, and obviously Rodgers isn't playing the best ball he's been playing, so tough to say there. But taking a look at the money. I've got $69 for myself. Aaron's down to $31. Aaron is all in on the money. Starship with $51. James Lombardi still with $97. Very fun to see how this is playing out. I think somebody like Matt and Aaron are actually probably playing it better than most people at this point. Who are you going to get in this late season? I think Aaron spending all the money on Kirk Cousins was a great call. I was considering dropping Dak for Kirk myself, but ended up just sticking to it. But it was a good play by her. Great play by her, in my opinion. Yeah. And with that, let's get into the power rankings. I'm going to breeze through mine. Not too much has changed on my end. Number 14, we got Zach. Number 13, we got Lombardi. And that's relative too, because I think that's just for this season. Lombardi, I think, is in an excellent position for next season. He's managed to flip that entire team from one bad season
for sure
to having basically a whole bunch of great rookies and then a whole bunch of first round picks next year. Tough to see him not taking over next season. Ryan and Jeff at 12. Relative, I still think that they could do something here. Sarah dropped 1 to 11. Honestly, might flip-flop those even. Number 10 is Lipsy. Even despite the win, she got +1 there. Lesensky -1. Lesensky can still do it if things come together. Might be tough though. Austin +3. He's 8 now. Austin's team, I think, might be viable. I think he might be one of the actual late round sneak-ins. David still at number 7. Think he could still right the ship, but it's a broken ship at this point. We'll see next week. I think him and Austin might flip here. Atwell at 6. Your boy Will at number 5. That's -1 for you, dude. Sorry, because I had to give myself the boost with the +1, Stephon Diggs. Number 4, Nick Ferrero. Number 3, Morgan. Number 2, Pelner. And number 1, Lee. Lee jumped up. Lee had a great week. Lee's team looks pretty darn good. And despite being 5-2, I think he might have the best team in the league. Because he had a tough loss to me, and I got lucky. So that's it for myself. Will, you want to talk us?
I haven't done it in a few weeks. I was busy. I was on the honeymoon. So I don't know what the changes are from week to week, but again, I don't edit these based on moves that were made. They're just based on how you've been doing. So for example,
numbers, folks.
Yeah, it's all numbers as opposed to trades. So we'll start at the bottom. We got Zach. 14, 13, we got Lombardi. 12, we got Lazinski. 11, we got Sarah. 10, we have Jeff and Brian. And as I was saying, it's all numbers, not trades. Because I think Matt made a couple trades, but he's at 9 because of his record and points. And then we got Lipsy at 8. And then I'm sure that the win this week bumped her up. David at 7, Austin at 6. I think Austin is a very good team. I think even 6 is too low. At number 5 is me. 4 is Morgan. Again, I'm sure she got bumped down with the loss. 3 is Nick, and just traded for Diggs. Probably will go up. 6 and 1 is good. And then 2 is Lee, and then 1 is Pelner. But I think Pelner's starting to show some cracks. I think he'll start to fall in the next few weeks.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that. If I can get a win, if I can get a game ahead of him going into that, we play each other. I think it's the last week before the playoffs. If I can get a win ahead of him there, I think that'd be all that. Oh my god, that would do it for me. But yeah, dude, I think Austin team is great. Like I said, I think he's going to jump up in my rankings next week, especially if he can pull out another one here. I like the trade. I like the Hawkinson acquisition. I think that's really putting him in contention for some viable options there. Yeah, dude, and since it is our contract week, we wanted to do a quick little walkthrough of the contracts, just talk you through some of the players that got thrown onto contracts. We'll just start walking through the East here, I think. Will Sky Moore on a 4-year red shirt. Dalton Schultz on a 2-year. Gus Edwards on a 2-year. We're going to walk through all that stuff. I think we can kind of assume everybody else is a 1-year. Yeah, you want to talk? You want to talk about any of that stuff, Will? You want to talk about your guys at all?
Sky Moore. I hope this is worth it. I may end up cutting him next year if he still stinks. But rookie receivers, I feel like they often need some time to get into a rhythm.
You know who says that? It's people who draft bad rookie receivers.
Yeah, maybe. But the only really good rookie receiver right now is Olave.
Yeah, it's true. Dotson looked good for a minute there, but he did with the injury. It's just nothing there. Pickens is in a bad position, but Pierce looks all right. I think he just got a bad wide receiver. But you're right, Olave really is the only viable start as a rookie receiver. Yeah.
Traylon Burks got hurt, but I think he'll be good when he comes
back. I think he'll be great too. I think David made a good call redshirting him. Sarah, Tyler Lockett. Let's wind it back here. She dropped DJ Moore off the franchise and put DK Metcalf on the franchise. I love that move. Makes DJ Moore an excellent trade candidate, especially if he gets moved. Probably not going to get moved. Carolina wants him. Tyler Lockett in the 4-year. James Cook, redshirt in the 3-year.
We're going to talk about a guy that everyone wrote off. Nobody wanted him this year. He's, I think, wide receiver 30.
I passed on him twice in the draft and I couldn't believe it. And I said, I need a viable wide receiver. The only thing I went into the season saying was I need one viable wide receiver. Now you see me overpaying for Diggs. Yeah. I mean, it's tough to see. It's tough to see through the Geno Smith haze. You know what I mean? Yeah. Can you blame any of us? Like really? But Sarah was already locked in there with the DK Metcalf. She kind of had to go all in, and I think it's paying off. The Seahawks are slinging the ball, and Kenny looks great out there. Benjamin in the 2-year, Daniel Jones in the 2-year, Huntley in the 2-year. I think Daniel Jones in the 2-year is going to be great. That team just, I don't know, man. It's absolutely bizarre seeing that team do so well.
Yeah, and don't forget James Cook on the 3-year red shirt.
Red shirt. Going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Matt Atwell, Chris Olave on the 4-year, love it. Algier on the 3-year, love it. Jamison Williamson. I don't know too much about the guy, so up in the air about that.
He hasn't played yet.
He hasn't played yet. Malik
They
Willis.
Malik Willis is his boy.
Yeah, dude, just looking at this now, I think Mac kind of had the best draft contract run out here. It really does look so good. The record might not reflect that at the moment, but damn, that's a great looking contract spot there. Morgan, Damian Pierce, love it in the 4-year. George Pickens, the 3-year, love it. Kareem Hunt, the 2-year, another steal in the draft.
And he might get traded too.
Dude, imagine that if he becomes the running back one somewhere.
Chiefs, he'll be
the Chiefs of all the places. The Chiefs.
He goes back. I can see him go back there. He knows the system anyway.
That would be cool. Actually, no,
they cut him though, so I don't know.
I don't know. Jeff and Brian, Gabe Davis on the 4-year. Yeah, Gabe Davis. You know, I mean, listen, you got to put him in 4-year. I'm asking myself this for the Diggs thing too. How long do you think this Buffalo dynasty is going to be around? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Is it, you know?
It just they're gonna have to throw to someone. I don't know how long Diggs is under contract for, but
I can't imagine him leaving at this point, especially after all the bullshit in Minnesota where he was like, he couldn't get balls and then he goes there and he gets the balls and he becomes the number one. I think he just likes it there. Right. But then again, it is Buffalo. James Robinson on the 2-year, David Njoku on the 2-year, another big boy waiver pickup getting the contract. We're going to get into this in a second.
I've been on the David Njoku tight end train for, when was he drafted? 2018. I've been on his train forever.
Yeah.
And he is now breaking out after I wrote him off, of course.
And just imagine what it's going to be like when Deshaun Watson comes back. Terrible human, amazing quarterback. David Ferreira, Breece Hall, but the big 4-year. God, what a sad day for Jets fans. That was, God, after that big, what is that, a 73-yard run? And
I think it was like 65 or something like that, yes.
Terrible. Treylon Burks and Calvin Ridley. David's got 3 guys on contracts, on big boy contracts, who might not play at all this season. Absolutely crazy. Anymore this season. Kyron Williams, definitely a deep stash, but we'll see what happens there. Austin Chatsman, Raheem Mostert getting the 4-year. He looks like the real deal in Miami, so long as they keep that going. Yeah.
Finally breaking out. He's been around a while.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, but he was always banged up and he was in the Russian roulette of the Niners RB camp. McCole Hardman with the 3-year. I don't love McCole Hardman. I think he just got a good week and it was easy to throw him on there. Jacoby Myers, I gotta write down Jacoby Myers, wide receiver, gets the 2-year there. Yeah, very interesting there. Something to note there. He did leave Cade Otton off of he only gave him the 1 year there. Interesting. 50-50.
I mean, Cade Otton is an injury fill-in for what's his name.
Yeah, but he's still a rookie tight end, right? That's
is he a rookie?
I thought he was there. Maybe I'm getting the names wrong. I thought he was the rookie tight end. I'm not paying. I'm avoiding Tampa Bay like the plague this year, honestly. Nick Ferreira, we're on to the West here. Nick Ferreira, Dawson gets the 4-year. Boyd gets the 3-year. Taysom Hill gets the 2-year, and the Chargers D gets the 2-year. Despite all of Will's best efforts to try to get me to force Chuba into that hole.
I wanted you to do the chart because I disagree with the move. I'm sabotaging you.
You think I should have put Chuba in there?
I think you should have put not a defense in there.
There's no one left, dude. Who was I going to put in there? I had the Falcons, Chris Boswell, or Chuba Hubbard. Those were the only other people I had to put in there. You know what I mean? It always happens where I'm just like at the last minute. I'm like, I have way too many contracts. I'm like, I just got to get rid of somebody here. Tyler Boyd, kind of same deal as McCole Hardman. I think probably wouldn't have given him the 3-year before he had that good game this week. But I also looked at the contracts for the Bengals receivers. Boyd, Chase, and Higgins are all on contract, I believe, for the next 3 seasons.
Right. So
they're, you know what I mean? They're not going to stop slinging that ball.
No.
So there'll be weeks where Higgins is out. There'll be weeks where Boyd's out. There'll be weeks where Chase is out. And I think the 3 of those, that the 3-headed beast is going to be a tough one to take down in the next coming years. Aaron got Kenny Pickett on the 4-year red shirt. Kirk Cousins on the 3-year. Naheem Hines and Titans D on the 2-year. I actually do think this is great for her in terms of the quarterbacks. I think Cousins is going to be viable for a while, and Pickett will probably right the ship at some point. That
I think
organization is
they'll
just cloudy. Hmm?
they have no good line right now. You got to think they'll boost that in the offseason.
Yeah, he's got a good completion percentage too. He's doing relatively all right in terms of. It's just a tough year for the Steelers. It stinks. I love watching the Steelers win. The Pellner boys. Pierce gets the 4-year, and Curtis Samuel gets the 2-year. Keep that in mind. Remember, Samuel was a waiver pickup early in the season, and he manages to get a contract.
Right.
Gonna be scary. Then again, they do have Carson Wentz throwing the ball. Or excuse me, Tyler Heineke. I actually love Tyler Heineke. He just loves to sling, so you know what I mean? He's just gonna keep throwing it. Lombardi, who might actually have the second best behind Matt in terms of contract walkaway here. Kenny Walker on the red shirt 4-year, Brian Robinson on a 3-year, Garrett Wilson on the 3-year, Wandale on a 2-year, Deshaun Watson on a 2-year, and Rashad White on a 2-year. I don't know, man.
And an open franchise slot.
And an open franchise slot. Did talk about an overhaul. Got rid of Zeke for 2 first-round picks. For a first and a second. Got rid of Diggs for 2 first-round picks. And they're all spanning across multiple seasons here.
Mm-hmm.
Got rid of Derrick Henry for 2 first-round picks. The guy has a plan in mind.
This is what Matt did.
Yeah.
After his first year.
Yeah. It reminds me of Matt. Yeah. It reminds me of that complete flip. Trust the system. Trust the system. And I got to say, Deshaun Watson, I do not understand how anybody who didn't have 2 viable quarterbacks did not pick him up earlier for this. He's a terrible, I keep saying terrible person, amazing football player.
Well,
I think he's
also, if you're competing this year, he's going to be missing the first 11 games.
But it's week 7. He returned to camp last week. He's practicing with the team. He's basically from week 11 on, he's going to be not only a viable quarterback, but a very good quarterback if you get Amari Cooper and Njoku jump started there again.
I don't know about that. He took a year and a half off. We'll see.
I just keep an eye on that play is all I'll say. Terrible human, great quarterback. Lee Wilson. Lee's the only person who hasn't given me the contracts yet. Shout out to Lee Wilson. Probably not listening to the podcast if he's not giving me contracts. But hey Lee, if you're out there, I'm coming for you. Zach Reimer has got an open franchise slot. He sticks Singletary in the 4-year, Higbee in the 3-year, Paris Campbell and the Ramsey into a 2-year. I like the Singletary and the Higbee on the 4-year, 3-year. I don't think that's too bad. We'll see what happens with the James Cook situation. Dude, it could end up being like a Josh Jacobs thing where it's everybody continues to count them out. They keep bringing these rookies in and Singletary just keeps getting the work. But who knows? Yeah. They're not a running team. Maybe that changes when the snow comes out, though. I don't know. Matt Lesensky didn't have too many contract slots to fill here. Puts Pittman in the franchise slot. Drake London and Romeo Doubs get 2 years. And something to note is he puts Zamir White on a 1-year with a red shirt. So viable for next season. Yeah, right. Isn't that a good call? Good call over there. And that just about does it for there. Something to just note is there's a ton of these 1-year players, just a few off the top here. I'm just going to walk through here. Michael Gallup, Marvin Jones, Melvin Gordon, DJ Moore, Gesicki, Goddard, Terrence Marshall, Herbert, Miles Sanders, AJ Green, Elijah Mitchell, Chase Claypool, Dawson Knox. Aaron's got a ton. Derek Carr, CeeDee Lamb, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Pat Freiermuth, J.D. McKissick, Daniel Jones. Never mind. Daniel Jones. I gotta fix that. Daniel Jones got dropped. Van Jefferson, AJ Dillon. Wow, Najee Harris.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is on a 2.
Yeah. Najee Harris is on a 1-year expiring contract. Very interesting. He can be +1. And then McCole Hardman also got dropped here. So just a few names to mention that are all viable 1-year can be +1 candidates in there. And as for bodies that continue to be dropping to the draft, Deontay Johnson.
is
What's that?
going to the draft. Terry McLaurin is going to the draft. Tony
Unless he
Pollard
gets
is going
franchised.
to the
Yeah.
draft.
Yeah.
Right. Keenan
Yeah.
Allen is going to the draft.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Hawkins.
Stevenson will end up getting franchised most likely.
Probably.
Jamal
Deontay
Williams.
Deontay Johnson is going to the draft.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill. Damian Harris. Amon Ra, Brandon Cooks, Mike Williams, Alan Lazard, Tom Brady, Hawkinson. There's a lot of big names that will be falling to who will still be viable players that will be falling to the draft next year. This is now you're finally starting to see. We saw it a little bit this past season with Kareem Hunt, with Tyler Lockett, with some of these big names getting forced to the draft because of these asterisk situations. This is going to be the big year that this all pays off, on top of it being an amazing draft class. So I don't know, man. Just hold on to your 23 picks if you can, or try to start getting them together now, because it's gonna be a big draft, especially if your name is James Lombardi. And I think that's it, folks. Will, you got anything else for the fans?
No, I don't think so. Just as you know, during the podcast, we've had a couple people pay their dues, which we love to see. Shout out.
And we got a response from Phil Swift that they've already dropped one of the 3 quarterbacks. All right, just everybody. It's the first year it's being implemented. We're just gonna go ahead and say everybody's getting their warnings this year. Next year we'll start to crack the whip.
We'll implement a penalty.
Yeah. But I think that's it, folks. Thanks for joining us. Still number 6 in the rankings. After the hiatus, we'll work on getting back up there.
We'll get back up there.
We'll get back up there. And Shapiro can't hang around for too long. All right. Have a good week. Enjoy football. Survive the buys. Thanks for getting your contracts in. Later.